Here's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to highlight 3 recent new features in the area of dynamic components. And then we're going to do 3 demos. So we're going to weave in these new features into a demo, and we're even going to look at some futures. So things that are coming out in the summer release, we will demo in the Record Home Enhancements demo, and then we'll finish up with our low-code application and dynamic components roadmap. So let's talk about what's new. But first, I just want to circle back to the Idea Exchange. Thank you to everybody who's posted something in the Idea Exchange or upvoted something in the Idea Exchange or added some commentary to help us understand where product gaps are, where enhancements are needed. We really look at this, we rely on this, and we do our best to deliver against this. And the reason I'm bringing this up, you'll see in the presentation today where we're circling back and we're saying, hey, we delivered X feature and it was worth Y points. So we're keeping score. We want to deliver on what's in the Idea Exchange. I know it's not always immediate turnaround, but we do pay attention. Please engage here. You can see since 2007, we've delivered more than 4,500 features and retired more than 6.79 million points in the Idea Exchange. And we're going to continue that momentum, and you'll see that in our roadmap today. So let's get started with the first big win.
Thanks, Nate. One of the features I'm really excited to share in demos today and talk about is cross-object fields. This is a long-awaited feature. It's been asked for by so many of our customers. You can see it's captured over 35,000 Idea Exchange points. What this feature will allow you to do is bring fields from a related record onto a particular record without adding any additional formula fields or code. So as an example, if you wanted to bring account information, account fields onto a contact record, you can now do that from directly within Lightning App Builder, any field that's related via lookup. And we'll show some examples in one of the demos coming up.
Awesome. Next up is dynamic actions for standard objects on mobile. This is generally available now. This is an expansion from supporting only custom objects to supporting all standard objects. And this is a big step forward for dynamic actions and for our mobile applications. As an administrator, you can now use dynamic actions both on the highlights panel and at the page level and display them conditionally, right? Show it only to users with these attributes or display these actions only for records with this particular type of data. And you can also preview your actions in mobile right on Lightning App Builder in the desktop. So we're really pleased to deliver this. It closes out 3,000 Idea Exchange points and really rounds out dynamic actions for mobile.
And then next we have Einstein field generation. Einstein field generation is a feature that allows you to bring generative AI directly into the context of your Lightning record pages. It allows you to do things like summarize related records, as you'll see in one of the demos coming up. And with that, let's go ahead and jump into our first demo. So we're going to show this demo from the perspective of Amy. She's a Salesforce admin at Wonk's Chocolate, and she's got a few challenges that she wants to solve today. She really wants to streamline her user's experience by just making sure the right information is surfaced at the right time. In order to do that, she's going to be using Lightning App Builder, cross-object fields, dynamic actions, and dynamic related lists. Let's go ahead and jump into that demo. So Amy's starting out in Lightning App Builder, and she's looking at the contact record. Her sales reps sell their goods through distributors, and so it's really important for them to be able to understand all the information about a particular contact with a quick glance as they're kind of working quickly through their job. Now, one of the things Amy wants to do is bring on fields from the account record so they have that information front and center directly on this contact record. Let's jump into Lightning App Builder and see how we can do this. The first thing that Amy's going to do is she's going to create a new section for account information. She's going to just pull on a field section, and she can use this new field section to bring in the fields from related records in the same way that she can do it with this particular record. And once she creates this new section with the account information, she can go ahead and drill into the account field. And you can see, I just want to slow down here. You can see this little arrow on the right-hand side of that lookup field. She can go ahead and click that and drill in, and she's now able to access all of the fields from the account record directly in Lightning App Builder. Now, Amy's going to go ahead and pull the fields that are most relevant for her reps as they're talking to these individual contacts, their distributors, just so that it's front and center directly on that contact record. And there we go, that looks great. Now the next challenge that Amy wants to solve is that her actions are kind of getting unwieldy. First of all, it's difficult to manage because she has to go into a different portion of the setup menu to determine what actions show up on the page. And then she also wants to have dynamic visibility so that the right actions show up for the right users. So to do that, Amy is going to upgrade to dynamic actions. And all she needs to do is go ahead and select that highlights panel. She'll get that prompt to upgrade on the right-hand side. She can choose to migrate her existing actions, or she can choose to start from scratch, which she's going to do today since she knows there's a large number of existing actions there she probably needs to clean up. And when she does that, she can go ahead and start adding her actions right away. Now, Amy's going to go ahead and add the edit action and the log a call action. Those are the two most important actions. But she's also going to do something else. She's going to apply dynamic visibility rule on the log a call action. This action is actually only relevant for sales users. So she's going to go ahead and add an advanced rule that's going to look at the user profile, and then see if that user profile is a sales profile. And if so, she's going to display this action. If not, it's not going to be relevant. Now that she's gone ahead and set this up, Amy has one more challenge. She wants to bring a related list of open opportunities to this page. Right now, there's a list of opportunities, but not all of those are relevant, and it takes some additional time and kind of thought work to scroll through and find the ones that are most relevant. So Amy's going to go ahead and bring on a dynamic related list, and she's going to add a filter to this. So first, she'll choose the opportunity object, and then she's actually going to create a new name for this list because it's only going to be open opportunities. She's going to change the label to open opportunities, and she's going to add a filter on the stage just to make sure that this stage is not equal to closed lost or closed won. This is going to give her the open opportunities. That's the last thing Amy needed to do. So this looks great. Let's go ahead and save and jump over and take a look at this in the runtime. Now, when we get back to the runtime, we can see that we now have that account information directly on the contact page. These fields are going to be read-only for the current release. And then if we scroll down, we can see that we have the open opportunities. Those are now filtered. Those are all in open stages, so that's perfect. And then on the upper right, we can see we have the edit action. Amy's currently logged in as a sysadmin, so she doesn't see the log a call action. Now let's jump over and take a look at this on mobile. We're now looking at this on the mobile device. This is the same contact record. And if we jump back in, we can see we have all of the same information that we have. We have our slimmed down list of actions, and we're good to go. And that concludes our first demo.
Awesome. Great work. All right, so now we're going to talk about generative AI. Again, we're back to Amy with Wong's Chocolate. She's our friendly Salesforce administrator. Her challenge, her users are looking at accounts that are full of open cases. Some are escalated, some have a lot of detail. It's very burdensome to look through all these cases when you're preparing to talk to a customer to figure out what's hot and what's not. So Amy's going to solve this. She's going to use Lightning App Builder and Dynamic Forms, along with Flow Builder and Prompt Builder, to build an experience that will save her users a ton of time and allow them to surface this, this escalated case and open case summary right in her record home. So here we are on the account record home, and Amy has already set up a field called Escalated Open Cases. You can see there in the right-hand side of the screen. So that's going to be our landing spot for the summary that we're going to build. So next up, we're going to jump into setup and look at our prompt templates. And she's got one set up already called Case Snapshot. So let's jump in here. This is going to be a breezy overview in this session of Prompt Builder, because what we're focused on is Lightning App Builder, Dynamic Forms, et cetera. But we want to show this whole loop, right? So here we are in the Prompt Builder, and you can see there's a workspace where you do your grounding of the prompt. You tell the Gen AI what to do. use neutral language, right? Don't use anything that's superfluous, make these concise, etc. And then we can also add in a resource, which is a flow. So we've added in a flow here as well, and so she'll pick that out of the flow menu, and this is ground on open cases. And essentially what this flow does, it's very simple. It just says, take this prompt template and run it against every open case and loop through every single open case and then end. It's a very simple flow. So we can now test this. In the bottom right-hand corner, we have a response, and we can say, let's try this on Acme Sugar Company. So we'll find them in the menu, and we will test the response and see if this approximates or gets us to the result that we want. And you can see also, we've tied this to the object field called account escalated open cases, right? Remember that from the original account record home. So here's our response. This looks good. We can go ahead and save this and return back to our account record home. And we're going to pull this now into Lightning App Builder. And we're going to take a look at that escalated open cases field. And we can see in the properties panel now that this has been tied to that prompt template, right? So we can link these up. And now you can see that little Einstein indicator. This thing is now powered with generative AI to do the field generation. So we'll go ahead and save this and return to runtime and see what we've accomplished. So again, we're on Acme Sugar Company. They've got a number of open cases. We want this to summarize what's open. We go ahead and edit. You can see the new magic button here on escalated open cases. We're going to go ahead and hit this, and it's going to come up with this Einstein sidebar. It's looping through all the cases, and here's what it came up with. Now, you as a user, you can decide, do I like this? Do I not like this, right? You're in the middle of this interaction. Maybe we want this to be in bullets. Maybe we want to summarize this as bullets. So we can engage with this and say, convert to bullets. There we are. Let's use that. So we'll hit the use button. That's going to populate the field, and there's our end result. Nice and easy, right? Einstein has looped through these cases, has built out a summary, and saved Amy's users a ton of time for looking through all these open cases.
Fantastic. So this brings us to our next demo. Now, everything that you've seen today is available already. This next demo is going to show a couple of features that are coming out in the summer release. We're coming back to Amy, and she now wants to make some changes to optimize the layout of the record home. She wants to make it a little bit cleaner, maybe change up the spacing, and make sure that only the right users see what they need to see when they need to see it. So tailoring that information that's showing for the different types of users. She's going to be using Lightning App Builder again, and she's going to be using the new blank space component coming out in summer 24, and dynamic tab visibility. Let's jump into that demo. So now we're going to go back to the account, and let's jump right into Lightning App Builder and see how we can make some formatting changes here. Now, the first thing that Amy's going to do is she's going to enable horizontal alignment for that field section. It's something you might not notice in design time, but in the runtime, you could see that those fields were sort of at different heights. This is just going to make sure everything aligns horizontally, and the different fields will match the height of the fields next to them. And now she wants to bring the two phone information fields, the phone number and the fax, down and kind of highlight those and separate them and call attention to them, because the phone is a really important field that her end users are using frequently. So she's going to bring the phone and the fax to the bottom, and she's going to use the new blank space component. You can see it in the palette on the left-hand side there, to start adding some spacing in between the different fields. And so she's now spacing out the two phone numbers, kind of giving a little space between them, so that her users can more quickly find the information that they need. Now, the second thing that Amy is going to do is she's going to do some cleanup on the tabs. She has, you can see here, a marketing tab that's actually not relevant for her sales users. Now, this is a really simple example, but you could imagine expanding this out if you have 5 different profile types that have different fields that they need to see. You might want to have a general tab for all, and you could have additional tabs for other users, and you could set visibility rules based on what you need. In this case, she's just going to set a single visibility rule on this specific marketing tab, And she can go ahead and select that tab and add the visibility filter in the same pattern that we're using in the rest of Lightning App Builder. She's going to go ahead and add an advanced visibility rule again and call out that this is only going to be visible when the profile name is a marketing user. That looks great. Now let's go ahead and save this and take a look at the runtime. And when we get back to the runtime, we can see that we have the new spacing set up, so some additional spacing between our phone fields and the other fields. And then we can also see, again, Amy's a sysadmin, so she doesn't have a marketing profile, and she's not seeing that marketing tab, which is just as designed. And that wraps up our second demo, our last demo.
Awesome. So let's talk about roadmap. And before we get into specific features, Elizabeth and I wanted to talk about just some big picture themes for the roadmap with respect to Lightning App Builder and dynamic components. And so there's three themes that we want to talk through: performance, dynamic forms, and list views and related lists. So I'll talk about performance. A couple things that are going on. As our users are adopting dynamic forms, there's some really heavy, intensive use of the Lightning App Builder. If you've gone through this exercise before, you can see you have to drag and drop fields and field sections in between tabs and right in the right place. What we're seeing in some cases is subpar performance, right? The drag and drop is slow, the page render time is slow for the canvas. We're investing in that right now. In the summer release, you will see improved performance for canvas load time in the Lightning App Builder and for better drag and drop responsiveness. The other thing that's a much bigger effort, and we'll be talking about this in several venues at TDX, including the True to the Core session this afternoon, and there's also a performance session tomorrow. We are laser focused on improving the page load time of Record Home. Okay, we've identified that as a pain point, especially for our customers that are highly customized, have a lot of fields, have a lot of components. We want to optimize there. And so we have a lot of investments there. Some of them are under the covers. They're platform level investments. Some are at the UI level. To put yourself in a place where you can take advantage of those, you want to get on dynamic forms for your record homes wherever you can.
The second theme here that we have for our investment is in dynamic forms. We've heard from all of you that there were gaps that were preventing you from adopting dynamic forms. So we've been working really hard to close those gaps. We really appreciate, as Nate mentioned early in the presentation, idea exchange points. It really helps us understand what's most important. It's a really important data point for us as we prioritize items. And so in the upcoming release, we'll be closing out the top three upcoming releases, the top three idea exchange items. The second thing that we are working on is expanded object support. Dynamic forms is available on LWC-enabled records. So any object that's LWC-enabled, has an LWC-enabled record home, will automatically get dynamic forms and some of these other great dynamic features. Some of the entities out there, Campaign is a great example, have made a lot of customizations over the years to provide a very specific user experience that they wanted for that entity, for the workflows that they expected for their users. And so it's a little bit more work to bring those entities over because they have to redo that work to bring the entity to LWC, but we've been working closely with them, those teams to help them prioritize that.
And then the last investment theme is related to list views and related lists. So with list views, you haven't seen any new features on list views in many years. And the reason for that is that list views are still on the old Aura UI framework. We're undertaking a project to move those to the LWC framework. I'm calling that, so the Lightning Web Components framework, I'm calling that modernization of list views. That work will be live in the summer release. So we have done a whole lot of foundational work on list views. We've already done this for related lists, and that is going to set the stage for us to deliver on the top three idea exchange voted items in the rest of the calendar year. So we're really excited about this. I'll get into the details of what exactly those are in the next slide. In the winter release, so remember summer, we're getting onto Lightning Web Components. In winter, two of the top voted list view enhancements are the ability to set a default sort order and to set a multiple column sort order. So maybe you sort by last name, then first name. Maybe you sort by priority and SLA due date. You could probably think of a million use cases here. I'm seeing some heads nodding. You can think of a million use cases here. We will be delivering this in the winter release. That's our target. That's 114,000 idea exchange points that have been piling up for quite a few years. The other piece of modernization that we'd like to do with list views is for those of you that use split view, you might notice that panel on the left-hand side, your record selector, is really out of date. It has alignment problems with long strings. It only surfaces 4 fields. It's just antiquated. We'd like to uplift that and put in our list cards there as the record selector and really make a nice usability enhancement. That way all the fields are readable, and also it's a nice UX and aesthetic enhancement. And then the other of the top 3 Idea Exchange voted items is inline editing for related lists. So we have that planned for spring of 25. Again, that'll be a case where on a record home, you hit view all on a related list. You can see all the records, you can sort, you can filter, and then you can select one or more and inline edit, same as you can on a list view. That's going to be a major time saver for our users and a relief for our administrators.
Let's jump over to the dynamic forms side. So coming up in the summer 24 release, the first 2 features, tab visibility and blank space component support, we just saw in the most recent demo. There's a third feature that I'm really excited about. This is a parity gap that I've heard from many of you with the move to dynamic forms. When you create a new field, there are 4 steps in the setup flow. And the 4th step allows you to add that field to existing page layouts. We've added a new step in that setup flow that allows you to also add that new field to existing dynamic forms enabled pages. So you don't have to remember which pages have dynamic forms enabled and go find those pages and add the field. It'll be added automatically, single click, and then you can just go and move it to the place that you find most appropriate. For the winter 25 release, if we go to the next slide, we have 2 additional features I'm extremely excited about as well. The first is conditional field formatting. This is a long-awaited idea exchange item. This was created in 2007. The idea is to give you the ability to provide formatting to call attention to specific fields. So if the customer sentiment is really bad, if they have an open escalation and you're a sales rep and you're about to go in and call somebody, it's good to have your attention called to fields like that so that you know that and can adjust your flow of work appropriately without spending too much time trying to dig into the details and process all of the text on a record. Gives you a more visual way to process that. And the second element that I'm really excited about is something that has around 11,000 idea exchange points across a couple idea exchange items and is, I think, key to the first item, which is a dynamic highlights panel. So today, you can't customize the highlights panel for different profiles. You can't change the fields in the highlights panel dynamically. This is something that we've been working on. We've already rolled it out for certain data cloud entities, but we haven't brought it to CRM yet. And we're excited to be able to bring it to CRM objects as well. This is actually really key for conditional field formatting as well, because a lot of those fields that you want to apply those special visual indicators to, you might want to have at the top of the page. If anyone has any specific opinions or strong opinions or use cases for this that you want to share with me for the conditional field formatting, we're still working on the spiking and designs for that. So would love to hear your opinions after this session.
Okay, so to wrap it up, action items. Feel free to scan this QR code. This is going to take you back to our Trailblazer community. By the way, that's our records lists and actions Trailblazer community. That's a great place to engage with us if you have ideas, if you have questions, if you have problems, suggestions, and we post our roadmaps there and other important product updates. But that's where that QR code will take you. The actions we're recommending, like I said, if you haven't gotten on dynamic forms yet, give it a try. We're continually adding features and gap fills. There's native performance enhancements there, and we have a robust roadmap for dynamic forms. And if you've done that already, give cross-object fields a try, the demo that we did today that's now out in the latest release. The prompt builder trail, we showed prompt builder with field generation. Take the trail, that's new to all of us. There's a ton of content here at TDX take that trail, get to know what we're doing in that area, and then please keep engaging with us on the idea exchange. Like Elizabeth said, that's a really valuable data point for us as we look at prioritizing features on our roadmap.